Kenneth Howard Norton, Sr., best known as Ken Norton, was an American professional boxer. He was the WBC World Heavyweight Champion from 1977 to 1978 and is best known for his trilogy with Muhammad Ali, in which he defeated Ali in their first bout by split decision over 12 rounds in March 1973. Their rematch also ended in a split decision, this time in favor of Ali. The third fight was won by Ali, but many observers thought Norton had won. He also is known for his slugfest with Larry Holmes in June 1978. Although he suffered quick knockout defeats to power punchers George Foreman, Earnie and Gerry Cooney, Norton always matched up well against top boxers and often gave opponents such as Ali, Jimmy Young and Holmes much trouble with his unorthodox style. In 1992, Norton was inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame. He died of stroke complications at a care facility in Henderson, Nevada on September 18, 2013 at the age of 70. Early years, Norton was an outstanding athlete at Jacksonville High School. He was a member of the state championship football team and was selected to the All-State team on defense as a senior in 1960. His track coach entered him in 8 events, and Norton placed first in 7 of them. As a result, the Ken Norton rule, which limits participation of an athlete to a maximum of 4 track and field events, was instituted in Illinois high school sports. After graduating from high school, Norton went to Northeast Missouri State University on a football scholarship and studied elementary education. Boxing career: Norton started boxing when he was in the United States Marine Corps from 1963 to 1967, compiling a 24-2 record en route to 3 All-Marine heavyweight titles. In time, Ken became the best boxer to ever fight for the Marines, and was awarded the North Carolina AAU Golden Gloves, International AAU and Pan American titles. Following the National AAU Finals in 1967, he turned professional. Norton built up a steady string of wins, some against journeyman fighters and others over fringe contenders like the giant Jack O'Halloran. He was learning and improving. But he suffered a surprise defeat, ironically just after the Ring magazine had profiled him as a prospect, at the hands of heavy-hitting Venezuelan boxer Jose Luis Garcia in 1970. It was justifiably Garcia's career peak. But Garcia was overpowered, both then as rated contenders, in their rematch 5 years later. Norton was given the motivational book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, which, as he states in his autobiography, Going the Distance, changed his life. Shortly before he died, Norton stated Think and Grow Rich changed my life dramatically. I was going to fight Muhammad Ali. I was a green fighter, but yet I won, all through reading this book. Upon reading Think and Grow Rich, he went on a 14-fight winning streak, including the shocking victory noted above over Muhammad Ali in 1973 to win the North American Boxing Federation heavyweight champion title. To quote Norton from his autobiography noted above, "These words were the final inspiration in my victory over Ali. Life's battles don't always go to the stronger or faster man, but sooner or later the man who wins is the man who thinks he can." An article which appeared in the Southeast Missourian discussed that Norton credited Napoleon Hill's philosophy for his success. To quote from the article, Norton says he's a believer in Napoleon Hill's philosophy, that a person can do anything he puts his mind to. So I train for my fights, he says, mentally as well as physically. One thing I do is only watch films of the fights in which I've done well or in which my opponent has done poorly. Ken Norton once said, "In boxing, and in all of life, nobody should ever stop learning." Versus Ali, first and second fight equals, name opponents were elusive in Norton's early career. His first big break came with a clear win over respected contender Henry Clark. This helped get him his world recognition break when Ali agreed to a match. Joe Frazier, who'd sparred with Norton, presciently said of Ali, "He'll have plenty of trouble." Though both were top boxers in the mid-1970s, Norton and Frazier never fought each other, in part because they shared the same trainer, Eddie Futch, and also that they were friends. On March 31, 1973, Muhammad Ali entered the ring at the San Diego Sports Arena wearing a robe given to him by Elvis Presley as a €5 favorite versus Ken Norton in a bout televised by ABC's Wide World of Sports. Norton won a 12-round split decision over Ali in his adopted hometown of San Diego to win the NABF heavyweight title. In this bout, Norton broke Ali's jaw, leading to only the second defeat for the greatest in his career. Almost 6 months later at the Forum in Inglewood, California, on September 10, 1973, Ali avenged the Norton loss but only after he got the return by a split decision. Norton weighed in at 205 pounds and boxing scribes discussed that his preparation was too intense and that perhaps he had overtrained. There were some furious exchanges in this hard-fought battle. From Ali's point of view, a loss here would have seriously dented his claim of ever being the greatest. During the ABC broadcast of the fight, broadcaster Howard Cosell repeatedly told viewers that dancing and jabbing Ali was dominating the action despite Norton's constant offense and Ali's inability to penetrate Norton's awkward defensive style. The close and controversial scoring was in stark contrast to Cosell's fight-long insistence that Ali had matters well in hand. Championship challenge against Foreman. In 1974, Norton fought George Foreman for the World Heavyweight Championship but was stopped in 2 rounds at Poliedro of Caracas, Venezuela. After an even first round, Foreman staggered Norton with an uppercut a minute into round 2, buckling him into the ropes. Norton did not hit the canvas, but continued on wobbly legs, clearly not having recovered, and shortly he went down a further 2 times in quick succession, with the referee intervening and stopping the fight. This fight would become known as the Caracas Caper. In 1975, Norton regained the NABF heavyweight title when he impressively defeated Gerry by TKO in the 5th round. Norton then avenged his above-mentioned 1970 loss to José Luis Garcia by decisively knocking out Garcia in round 5. Third Ali match. On September 28, 1976, at Yankee Stadium in New York City, Norton would again fight Ali, who was now the world heavyweight champion since regaining the title with an 8th-round knockout of George Foreman in 1974. Many observers have felt this was the beginning of Ali's decline as a boxer. It was a tough bruising battle for Ali. In one of the most disputed fights in history, the fight was even on the judges' scorecards going into the final round, which Ali won on both the referees' and judges' scorecards to retain the World Heavyweight Championship. The judges scored the bout €8-7 for Ali, and the referee scored it €8-6 for Ali. At the end of the last round, the commentator announced he would be very surprised if Norton has not won the fight. At the time of the third Ali-Norton bout, the last time a heavyweight champion had lost the title by decision was Max Baer to Jim Braddock 41 years earlier, and Ali-Norton III did not set a new marker. The January 1998 issue of Boxing Monthly listed Ali-Norton as the 5th most disputed title fight decision in boxing history. The unofficial UPI scorecard was €8-7 for Norton, and the unofficial AP scorecard was €9-6 for Ali. But Ali had received a pounding. His tactics were to try to push Norton back, but they had failed. He had refused to dance until the 11th when in sheer desperation, although the crowd massively roared its appreciation. Norton has said the third fight with Ali was the last boxing match for which he was fully motivated, owing to his disappointment at having lost a fight he believed he had clearly won. Aftermath, Norton becomes champion. 1977 was a top year for Norton. He knocked out previously unbeaten top prospect Dwayne Bobic in just 1 round. Then dispatched European title holder Lorenzo Zanin in a tune-up fight. Light-hitting but fast Zanin was actually well ahead until a burst of heavy punches put him down and out. Norton next beat polished number 2 contender Jimmy Young in a 15-round split decision in a WBC Big Mandatory title elimination fight, with the winner to face reigning WBC champion Ali, but Ali's camp told Ring magazine they did not want to fight Norton for a 4th time. Both boxers fought a smart fight, Norton pressing using a heavy body attack whilst Young moved well and countered. Many observers thought the decision controversial. Most split decisions are by definition close. Plans, however, changed on February 15, 1978. On that night, in front of a nationwide television audience, Ali lost his title to Leon Spinks. The WBC then ordered a match between the new champion and its number one contender, but Spinks chose instead to give the fallen champion the first shot at taking his title rather than face the still dangerous Norton. The WBC responded on March 18, 1978, by retroactively giving title fight status to Norton's victory over Young the year before and awarded Norton their championship, which split the heavyweight championship for the first time since Jimmy Ellis and Joe Frazier were both recognized as champions in the early 1970s. Larry Holmes title fight. In his first defense of the WBC title on June 9, 1978, Norton and new number one contender Larry Holmes met in a classic fight. After 15 brutal rounds, Holmes was awarded the title via an extremely close split decision. The three judges' cards were as follows: 143 euro 142 for Holmes, 143 euro 142 for Holmes, and 143 euro 142 for Norton. The Associated Press scored it 143 euro 142 for Norton. The March 2001 edition of the Ring magazine listed the final round of the Holmes-Norton bout as the seventh most exciting round in boxing history. As noted above, Holmes-Norton is ranked as the 10th greatest heavyweight fight of all time by Monty D. Cox, a member of the International Boxing Research Organization. Holmes went on to become the third longest reigning world heavyweight champion in the history of boxing, behind Joe Louis and Vladimir Klitschko. Years later, Holmes wrote of his experience that this was his toughest match in over 70 contests. Retirement looms. After losing to Holmes, Norton won his next fight by knockout over 6th-ranked Randy Stevens in 1978 before taking on Ernie Shavers in another compulsory WBC title eliminator fight in Las Vegas on March 23, 1979. It appeared for the first time that Norton's career has perhaps hit a decline, particularly after the Holmes match as Shavers took the former champion out in the first round. But it also created a permanent view that his confidence wasn't good against really big hitters, the main three being Foreman, Shavers and later Cooney. Although Norton himself always denied this. In his next fight, he fought to a draw with unheralded but durable lower-ranked contender Scott Ledoux at the Met Center in Minneapolis. Norton carried the day until sustaining an injury when he took a thumb in the eye in the 8th round, which immediately changed the bout. Ledoux rallied from that point and Norton became decidedly fatigued. Norton was down 2 times in the final round, resulting in the draw. Norton fell behind on one scorecard, kept his lead on the second, and dropped to even on the third. After the fight, Norton decided that at 37 it was time to retire from boxing. However, not satisfied with the way he had gone out, Norton returned to the ring to face the undefeated Randall Tex Cobb in Cobb's home state of Texas on November 7, 1980. In an all-action back-and-forth fight, Norton escaped with a split decision, with referee Tony Perez and Judge Chuck Hassett voting in his favor and Judge Arlan Bynum giving the fight to Cobb. The win over the title-contending Cobb gave Norton another shot at a potential title fight, and on May 11, 1981. At Madison Square Garden he stepped into the ring with top contender Gerry Cooney, who, like Cobb, was undefeated entering the fight. Very early in the fight it became clear that Norton was no longer the caliber of fighter he once was, as Cooney's first punch caused Norton's legs to buckle. Norton continued to take shots from Cooney in his corner for nearly a full minute before Perez, who refereed his last fight, stepped in to stop the bout 54 seconds in, as Norton was slumped in his corner. Norton decided to retire following the match and turned his attention to charitable pursuits. Norton's enduring legacy as a fighter is that he is considered second to Joe Frazier as Ali's main nemesis and toughest opponent. Norton fought Ali to 3 decisions and was never hurt or knocked down. All 3 bouts were close and subject to controversy. Unfortunately, Norton was less successful against 3 of the greatest punchers of all time, losing by KO to Foreman and Shavers and by TKO to Cooney. Norton was considered past his prime in boxing from 1979 to 1981. Awards and recognitions. Ken Norton is a 1989 inductee of the World Boxing Hall of Fame, a 1992 inductee of the International Boxing Hall of Fame, a 2004 inductee into the United States Marine Corps Sports Hall of Fame, and a 2008 inductee into the WBC Hall of Fame. The 1998 holiday issue of the Ring ranked Norton number 22 among the 50 greatest heavyweights of all time. Norton received the Boxing Writers Association of America J. Neal Trophy for Fighter of the Year in 1977. Norton, a proponent of motivational author Napoleon Hill's writings, also received the Napoleon Hill Award for Positive Thinking in 1973. In 2001, Norton was inducted by the San Diego Hall of Champions into the Breitbart Hall of Fame, honoring San Diego's finest athletes both on and off the playing surface. Norton was also inducted into the Marine Corps Hall of Fame in 2004 and into the California Sports Hall of Fame in 2011. Unconventional style. Norton was a forward-pressing fighter boxer who was notable for his unusual guard stance characterized by arms held crosswise. The left arm low across the torso and right hand up by the right or left ear. But when under heavy pressure, both arms were brought up high across at face level whilst one leant forward. This left the opponent little target in theory. The guard was also used by the legendary Archie Moore. George Foreman later used it very effectively during his famous comeback years. Tim Witherspoon was another practitioner. Joe Frazier even borrowed it for occasions in his third Ali match. The style is named the cross-arm defense. It tends to look crab-like. Norton would bob and weave from a crouch, firing well-placed heavy punches. Norton was best when advancing. He'd drag or slide the right foot along from behind. By comparison, most conventional boxers have elbows in at the torso with forearms vertically parallel to each other, the gloves then being both near sides of the face. Most trainers believe the conventional style is a better defense and that the cross-arm style leaves the user open far too often. But Norton's style was in itself fascinating. He gave Ali more trouble than anyone else in history over 3 contests, no small feat by any standard. He could, as they say in the trade, box or fight. Norton was never fazed by Ali's various famous tactics like clinching or rope-a-dope. In fact, Ali usually found rope-a-dope a particularly unpleasant experience with Norton, as Ken would get many punches through. He seemed to have a unique ability here. Then Ali's famous clinching and holding or launching sharp shots from a distance were all for various reasons not as effective as when Ali fought Frazier, the only other man he fought 3 times. Angelo Dundee wrote that Ken's best punch was the left hook. Many others lauded his infamous overhand right. In a Ring magazine article, Norton himself said that a right uppercut to Gerry Quarry was the hardest blow he recalled landing. Unlike many boxers, Norton would often not attempt to stare down an opponent while announcements were made before the match started. Instead, he'd often look down at the floor and gather his thoughts. He was also widely noted for his fine athletic build. Later media career. During the height of his boxing career, Norton started to appear in feature films. After 2 uncredited appearances in the early 1970s, he played the title characters in the 1975 film Mandingo and the 1976 film Drum. Norton played characters in 9 motion pictures, and also appeared as himself in a number of documentaries and television films. Norton additionally worked as a television and radio sports commentator and appeared in popular TV series, such as Jailbird Jack Ahmed Jackson in Pros and Cons, an early first-season episode of The A-Team, and as boxer Bo Keeler in the 4th season Knight Rider episode Redemption of a Champion. Norton also appeared on the Superstars sports competition on ABC TV and was a member of the Sports Illustrated Speakers Bureau. The character of Apollo Creed in Rocky was initially going to be played by Norton. However, when he pulled out, Carl Weathers was selected. Norton continued making TV, radio and public speaking appearances until suffering injuries in a near-fatal car accident in 1986. It left him with slow and slurred speech. He appeared along with Ali, Foreman, Frazier and Holmes in a video, Champions Forever, discussing their best times, and in 2000 he published his autobiography, Going the Distance. Family. Ken Norton was twice voted Father of the Year by the Los Angeles Sentinel and the Los Angeles Times in 1977. To quote Norton from his biography, "Relieve, Journey from Jacksonville, of all the titles that I've been privileged to have, the title of Dad has always been the best." His son, Ken Norton Jr., played football at UCLA and had a long successful career in the NFL. In tribute to his father's boxing career, Ken Jr. would strike a boxing stance in the end zone each time he scored a defensive touchdown and throw a punching combination at the goalpost pad. Ken Jr. was a member of 3 Super Bowl champion teams as a player and 1 as an assistant coach. He later became the linebackers coach for the Seattle Seahawks and currently works as the defensive coordinator for the Oakland Raiders. Ken Norton's other son, Keith Norton, was once the weekend sports anchor for KPRC in Houston, Texas. Ken Norton's son Keith followed his father and served in the Marine Corps. Death. Norton died at a care facility in Las Vegas on September 18, 2013. He was 70 years old and had suffered a series of strokes in later life. Across the boxing world, tributes were paid, with George Foreman calling him the fairest of them all, and Larry Holmes saying that he will be incredibly missed in the boxing world and by many. Professional boxing record: Key, KO a Euro knockout, PTS a Euro decision on points, RTD a Euro referee technical decision, SD a Euro split decision, TKO a Euro technical knockout, UD a Euro unanimous decision. References. Bibliography: Norton, Ken. Al Going the Distance. Champaign, Illinois, Sports Publishing. ISBN 1-58261-225-0. External links. Find a Grave Memorial, Professional Boxing Record for Ken Norton from BoxRec, Ken Norton's biography at BoxRec Boxing Encyclopedia, Ken Norton Gallery from BoxRec Boxing Encyclopedia, San Diego Hall of Champions page about Ken Norton, World Boxing Hall of Fame, Ken Norton at the Internet Movie Database, Ken Norton's page at Fanbase, California Sports Hall of Fame's page about Ken Norton, editorial, Norton was a positive role model, Ken Norton's biography at blackpast.org,